Hey everybody, in this video I am comparing gelatos with Jane Davenport's color sticks from her new Making Faces collection. This is not a sponsored video and I am just doing it because I have all the gelatos and all of Jane Davenport's color sticks. One thing you'll notice here is that I am rubbing them out with my finger, which you definitely can do. And I find out very quickly that there's a better way, and that you will see that right away. Jane Davenport names all of her colors very wonderfully and always comes up with awesome names for them. So those are the names along there. And I am doing them on 7 different surfaces. So the first column is white paint, the next column is white gesso, the next clear gesso, then matte medium, then Mod Podge, and then watercolor ground by Daniel Smith. And if you use a little blender, I am using just like a little cheap eyeshadow blender. It works much better than your finger on all of the surfaces, especially the white gesso and the white paint surface and the watercolor ground surface and the clear gesso. I do not have Jane Davenport's batten blenders, but I do talk about all of that coming up just in a minute or so in this video. And so I wanted to do the different surfaces because the colors for anything, any art product will show up differently on different surfaces. And if you're doing mixed media, then you want to know how things are going to perform on different surfaces. And so I don't know if I mentioned the black gesso, but I do have the black gesso, and some of the pigments, they all show up. They don't show up very well on camera there. And definitely some of them are more obvious than others, but they all do show up and are quite interesting. But unfortunately you can't tell exactly what they show up like on camera. And this is her Silky Skin set that I'm doing here. And this has all of the wonderful neutrals and skin tones and shading. And I do talk more in the video about how these all feel, so just keep watching because I will be discussing all of that. Right now I'm just doing the time lapse and narrating. And now here is her Soul Window. I forgot what the name was. So all of her, she has 2 color stick collections. They have 12 color sticks each. The first one I did was Soul Windows, or first one I did was Silky Skin. The second one was Soul Window. And these are just more brights and fun colors. One thing I do want to mention is that the white paint I'm using is basically the cheapest white paint ever. It's the dollar store white paint, which I actually used for gesso, for my DIY gesso. I would recommend don't use that for anything except for what you need cheap white paint for. It's these do not perform well on cheap white paint. Not that you have to use expensive white paint. You can use any matte white paint, Americano, or Americana. You do not have to buy expensive fine art paint. You can go to the craft section at a hobby store and get some good matte paint, and that actually works way better than like the professional Liquitex brand paint that has a little bit of a gloss for it. So don't use the cheapest paint ever, but definitely do not use the most expensive because it doesn't work as well. So just a quick little note about these baton blenders. So Jane, as I mentioned, has these on her site to buy. You can buy a big pack of 30, and they look quite a bit longer than these, and they're double-ended. She also has her blend-in, they're like beauty blenders. I don't have them. I will definitely be getting them, but I don't have them right now. So I'm just using these little ones I had lying around. And I have to say, if you're wondering, you know, if these are a good substitute, I guess if you're in a pinch like I am, but I think Jane's would be much better from the sounds of it, because these break. There's a little tip in here, and these break right away. They just crack, and this is pretty much useless. It won't, like it's not, I mean, I could, if I wanted to get it with my finger, but these are very cheap and they're small, so I'd like to have a longer one. And so I think Jane's are definitely worth getting because they will be stronger. They're made specifically to like put on a harder surface, whereas these are made specifically for eyeshadows, so you wouldn't be using them as aggressively. The other thing I wanted to mention with these is, you don't, once you do have them, you want to keep being able to use them. You don't want to just use them for one color. So you can wipe them off various ways, but a good way to do it is to just do it on an empty page of your art journal, and then that's fine. You can just leave it, but I actually took some white gesso while it was, before it had really set in, and just kind of went over it with some white gesso just to kind of smooth it out a little bit and blend it in. And that's just a really good way to use up some of this extra color on here, and to you know, put something on your art journal page. So I just wanted to mention that. So now I am swatching out the gelatos, and I did try to find similar colors to Jane's color sticks in the gelatos that I could. I discussed, you know, what I was able to match up and what I wasn't able to match up coming up in about a minute. And I will be discussing again how they felt when applying them and the different effects. I am using the same surfaces, just I kind of have it, the swatches going the other way just to fit more gelatos in. And the only difference is I don't have a black gesso in this group, but I do start with a white paint at the bottom, then white gesso, then clear gesso, moving up to matte medium, then Mod Podge, and then watercolor grounds. So if you just keep watching, I will tell you all about the similarities and the differences between the two. So you can see the metallic ones, they are the ones that have that shine. So that first one is a metallic, it's called metallic grape, and the second one is called the metallic mint, which is just going down the middle. And I also have metallic blueberry, and yeah, so you can just tell which ones are metallics by looking at the shine of them. And I do wash out the top, that's just on the regular mixed media paper that is in the journal already. I'm just washing it out with a water brush. Okay, so I have swatched out some gelatos that would be similar to the colors here. There's a few more that I just didn't fit here. One thing right away is that there is no gelatos that are kind of in these colors. These nice aqua turquoise colors, which happen to be Jane's favorite colors. There's no good, they're all just kind of this blue. And I'm pretty sure I have all of the gelato colors. This one here is a really nice color. It's a metallic, so that might, and then this one is also a metallic. So some of these colors I had to use the metallics of because I just couldn't find the right ones. I love this fig though. This is an amazing one. So that was like the deep vein. I could not find a lighter purple. The only purples that I could find for gelatos were this metallic grape, so I had to use a metallic one for the darker one. And then I didn't really have like a middle one here. And then these three here are not exactly accurate, but that's okay. I just did this metallic melon because I wanted to. And these skin tones here, I couldn't find a good one for that one. This one here, Moon Kiss, works with the peach. And then this rice paper one, I use the caramel for, but it's yellow toned, like, and this one is clearly not the same tone. The only one that I could find that kind of was the same is this Wink one, and whatever color this is, like kind of like a burnt sienna, I guess. Couldn't find anything. This is similar to a burnt umber. Couldn't find anything like that. And I couldn't find anything like this. I used this one here. So that's the first thing. Also, beyond the skin tones, the shadows and shading of faces, you get much more options with Jane's. Because you have these ones here, and then you have these in here that you can use. With gelatos, I had to use a metallic, and then I have this. So, skin tones, faces, you've got to get Jane Davenport's ones. If you're just fooling around, you can maybe get by with gelatos. Is that gelatos have more colors, although Jane does have a significant 24 colors. Gelatos have more colors because they have their, like, they have a couple of their neon ones and then their metallic ones, but they still don't have this range of shades. As far as the feel of them, Jane's are much smoother, like so much smoother. And these ones you have to get to right away if you want to wash them out. The gelatos kind of disappear. The pigments, I don't know if the pigments aren't as powerful or whatever, but on Mod Podge and Matte Medium, they work much better with Jane's. But some of them, like this is a really fades out to a light one, which is kind of nice, so you might like that sometimes. And as far as pigment in general goes, I think Jane's might be a little bit more pigmented to handle them. And I mean, just for aesthetic, Jane's are, you know, much nicer, and they come in this nice case. But if you are not able to get these yet, and you have a bunch of gelatos, your gelatos will work. They definitely will. You might not have some of the colors. You won't have some of the colors that you would get here. Jane's has many more skin tones, so if you're planning on doing faces with this, you definitely want to get the skin tones from Jane. You definitely want to get the silky skin ones if you are really wanting to do skin tones. If you are just wanting to play around and just, you know, not use them for anything specifically, and you have gelatos and you're thinking, okay, I'd rather get something else from the Making Faces collection, but maybe I need those color sticks even though I have the gelatos, you could probably do, if you have to pick one or the other, if there's, you know, if you can't get everything from the Making Faces collection and you have to pick between the color sticks and maybe the palette pastels, I would say the palette pastels before the color sticks if you already have gelatos. So if you are going to use these in a watercolor way with the gelatos, you're going to want to get to them right away. You can see I still got a little bit stuck there. And the same as the color sticks, pretty much. Some pigments will wash out better than others. Some will stain more, just like with watercolor pencils and whatnot. Or to take your brush and I'll just show you here really quickly here. And let's try this one here. And just get a little bit, and look how nice and smooth that is. That just gives like a really nice watercolor effect. Let's compare how much you get. So for this one, if I extend these all the way, so you get a little bit more with Jane's, just a little bit more. So in case you were wondering about that. I don't know if I showed you in this video or not. I know I've shown it on video before, but I have so many gelatos, like, and then I have more that I haven't even shown here. So I have all the gelatos, and I still could not find all these, which are awesome colors, and I definitely could not find the skin tones. So yes, I would say try to get her color sticks eventually, but gelatos will work very similar. They are still, they still work out quite nice and creamy. Maybe some of the surfaces aren't as good for the gelatos as Jane Davenport's are. And my white paint that I used is like the cheapest white paint from the dollar store. So don't use that white paint. Use some better white paint. It works way better on. So I did really cheap white paint for this, which I shouldn't have done, but I just wanted to, whatever. And again, these things are useless. I got maybe 1 or 2 uses out of them, and I probably will try to use them more because I just don't want to throw them away. But yeah, I think it would be good to invest in a couple. I don't think they're that expensive. I don't think Jane's are too expensive, unless you want to buy like high quality makeup ones. But these ones from the dollar store, I bought 3 or 4 packs. And honestly, by the time I'm through with it, I think it would even out just getting Jane's. And it really does work to just clean them off and use them again, and you get the right colors. Yeah, that's my comparison for Jane Davenport's color sticks and the gelatos. Also, remember the color sticks come with the awesome palette here that you can use, or this awesome picture here that you can do, and the swatch card. I am not sponsored by Jane Davenport. She hasn't, you know, asked me to do this review. Like, I don't get anything out of this review. I'm just giving you my honest review because I do have tons of gelatos, and I bought Jane Davenport's color sticks. Overall, I do like Jane Davenport's color sticks better, but the gelatos are lovely as well. You can get by with those for sure. But if you want to do skin tones with them, you're probably going to need to buy at least the Silky Skin one, because she has awesome skin tones in here. All right, bye for now.